The California Assembly's Health Committee voted 11-3 to advance Assembly Bill 2223, which could effectively legalize, now don't miss this, the killing of newborn babies, as it prevents liability if an infant dies during the perinatal period due to a pregnancy-related cause. The National Center on Health Statistics defines the perinatal period as being between 28 weeks of gestation and 7 days after birth. As the committee considered the bill on Tuesday, thousands of pro-lifers rallied in front of California's state capitol to stand up and speak out for life, including my next guest, who helped organize the event and then testified at the Assembly Health Committee hearing. Joining me now to talk about this bill and California's efforts to stand against infanticide is Pastor Jack Hibbs, Senior Pastor of Calvary Chapel Chino Hills in California. Pastor Jack, what's happening out there in California?
Well, Tony, more organized lunacy. However, now it's reached the point where this could be the camel, the straw that breaks the camel's back, so to speak, Tony. This is unbelievable legislation that's passed through the Judiciary Committee. Now it's passed through the Health Committee. It's going to appear soon before the Appropriations, but then it goes to the Senate. And that's where we get to renew our fight, Tony, as pastors in California, as Christians. And for that matter, I have been calling upon Muslims, Jews, imams, and rabbis to join us. This is absolutely unbelievable. You said it right. However, I must say that during testifying, the physician that was testifying with me said that in this case, it's up to 28 days after birth, Tony. It's mentioned as perinatal death. And that's the word that the author inserted because she was getting hammered over the term infanticide. The Democrats in Sacramento won't use the word. They won't let it be mentioned. They get rabid over that. And yet you can't escape it. It's a murder. And Tony, I'm excited because the law enforcement associations in California are now assembling on how they can fight against the bill also because it affects their job.
This is really hard to believe that we're actually, of course, they're defending, saying this is not what it does. This simply protects someone from being, and they use an example of, someone that's taking drugs and the baby dies as a result of the drug use. But where do you draw the line in society that we're now saying that a child can die after birth or be killed after birth and no one will be held accountable? Where do we draw the line?
Tony, you hit the nail on the head. And you know what? This is the standard Democrat operating procedure for California. They take one event that may or may not be true. Buffy Wicks of Oakland's the author of the bill. She got up to the podium and said she has a friend who was investigated and she felt embarrassed and ashamed because her life was investigated after her child was born, a stillbirth. And she goes, that's inspired me to author this bill. That is one situation that they're using and to leverage the killing of babies. I mean, what's the reason? What's the purpose? Who benefits from the murdering of a child after birth? And the shocker is, Tony, are you sitting down? The shocker is the legislation says that you cannot allow any examination. There's no autopsy. There's no investigation. So, for example, the number one child crime investigator who's on our team for 32 years has been doing this in Los Angeles County is saying our hands would be tied to investigate an 11-day-old child found dead, 18 days, 8 hours. They're just tied. And Tony, it's literally a hall pass, a free pass for murder. And I had enough. I got to tell you, during testimony, I closed my final remark by saying to the assembly that if they went forward to pass this bill, that the God of heaven would view them as being authors of premeditated murder. And that's exactly what it is. I've not yet had one person, attorney, or anyone else say that it would not be premeditated murder. It's the killing of a human outside the womb up to possibly 28 days.
Yeah, this is shocking. And to your point earlier, we don't make public policy based upon one experience or one scenario. We make it based upon what we know to be beneficial for all of society, based upon, in times past, transcendent truth. And this, there's nothing clearer than this, than the sanctity of human life. And I would think, Pastor Jack, I know you had thousands that turned out for the rally there, but I would think that this is a line too far for any pastor who believes the Bible in California, and they should be standing.
Well, Tony, I'm going to ask you guys to all pray for us, because just over 3,000 people showed up, and I asked for a show of hands of how many were pastors. We had 7 hands go up, Tony. We had 7 hands go up in a state of 40 million people and tens of thousands of churches. This has got to change.
It does, and we're going to help you do that. We're out of time now, but we're going to return to this as it moves to the Senate and help rally those pastors out there, because this is a red line that we cannot cross. Pastor Jack, appreciate your leadership, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Tony.